Hello, everyone. This is Ifeoma A, Odunlami, immigration attorney from the Odunlami law firm. I have a great topic for you today. I want to talk about VAWA and men suffering extreme cruelty or physical abuse in their relationships, and how that's a little challenging because of their gender, why it's difficult for men to come forward and admit to being abused in their relationships. For those who don't know me, my name is Ifeoma A. I'm an immigration attorney from the Odunlami law firm, where we fight for fellow immigrants to get their American dreams to become a reality. So, my office is in New Jersey, but we represent clients in all 50 states because immigration is federal law. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram. So if you see me looking back and forth, I'm trying to make sure I get everybody, get to see everybody. So today, the topic I want to talk about is VAWA and men. So I'm sure you guys have listened to the testimony in the Johnny Depp trial, and I've listened to it. I haven't really read everything because it's really hard to hear somebody. It's easier for me to kind of read it than to listen to this man go over what he's been through. And I want to show you how that relates to the abuse that men suffer and how VAWA can help men, right? So I'm trying to use Johnny Depp's story as an illustration of the abuse that men suffer and how it differs from women, So when you talk of abuse in a relationship, people always assume it's a woman, but men get abused too in relationships, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So don't forget to follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, or TikTok, so that when I come on, you are notified and you're able to get the information I have to share. So let's talk about VAWA. VAWA is Violence Against Women's Act. Even the name itself makes people think that it's only for women, and it's not. VAWA applies to men as well as women. It applies to children. It applies to parents of U.S. citizens. Okay, so today I want to talk about how men fare in domestic abuse situations, right? So we've been watching Johnny Depp, right, and his testimony. Now, Amber hasn't given her testimony, so to be fair, I mean, there are two sides to a story, but I'm just going with what Johnny said and trying to illustrate that men are being abused as well, and why it's difficult for men to talk about the abuse they suffer. So, thinking about the testimony, talking about the testimony, there's a clip where Johnny's attorneys played where Amber Heard is heard saying, and she says this: "Tell the world that I, Johnny Depp, am a victim of domestic violence, and see if the jury, see how many people believe or side with you." That's what she said. That's what she told Johnny, and it was recorded. So she's telling Johnny, like, nobody's going to believe you. And guess what? This is the same problem immigrant clients who are in toxic relationships with their wives, or even in same-sex relationships, that's what they suffer. Because a lot of immigrants come from this macho culture where, people believe that, we're not even just macho culture, because even here in America, they assume that the woman is always the victim, and that's not true. So when playing on that nobody's going to believe you, a lot of my clients tell me that they're afraid to call the police because the police will think that they are the aggressor. Or sometimes their spouse even threatens them that I'm going to call the police and they're going to believe me. I'm the U.S. citizen. You are an alien. That's what they tell my clients. Nobody's going to believe you. They're going to believe me because I'm the U.S. citizen. I'm a woman. And they're women who take advantage of the fact that they assume to be a victim when there's a fight and there's a scratch on them. The police will lock up this man right away without even thinking whether there's another side to the story. So you see a lot of men in a situation where they're afraid to call the police when they're being physically abused because they're afraid that they're going to be seen to be the aggressors, right? Another thing that Amber did was when Johnny told Amber that Dior was interested in a campaign with him, She said, Gio, why would they want to work with you? You have no class or style. You're a fat old man. That's another classic way of abuse, belittling and shaming a man. For a lot of my clients, what they tell me they go through is where their spouse says things to them like you're not good enough in bed. My ex-boyfriends or ex-husbands or exes were better than you. And men are ashamed to admit, to tell anybody about this. So they don't say anything. So belittling or humiliating a spouse, their husband, is another way of shaming them. And all of this adds together to extreme cruelty. It's psychological abuse. It could also be verbal abuse, where they're, calling them names like Amber Heard is calling him a fat man, making him think that he's nothing, And then there was another part I saw where she took a picture of him asleep with ice cream melted on him to show people, I guess his fans, that he was really so out of control with maybe drugs or whatever. She was trying to shame him. And that's something else that a lot of my clients complain about, that they're being humiliated on social media by their spouses, or their spouses embarrass them in front of other people, mocking the way they talk, or telling them, like when they have an opinion, what do you know? I'm an American. I know everything here. You don't know anything, so don't speak, or just making fun of the way they speak, the food they eat, or calling them names to referring to them as animals, or people that, somebody who doesn't know, who's not sophisticated, because they are the Americans. So those are ways to make their spouses feel bad. Of course, there's physical abuse, right? Johnny says that a cigarette was put out on his face, and apparently she cut off his fingertip, right? She did all of this. If this had happened to a woman, the cops would have been all over it. But it happened to a man. He didn't tell the cops. He didn't say anything. And the reason he's suing is because it's a defamation lawsuit. She's not suing because, she was being abused, and he was being abused, and therefore he's trying to get money. It's because he's losing money. So for him as a man, he wants to relate to the fact that he's losing money. Even though he's in a lot of pain, because nobody deserves to be treated that way. He's in a lot of pain because for a loved one to treat you so badly must hurt. But men don't. A lot of men don't want to deal with the emotions like the way women will. So he's gonna file a defamation lawsuit because he's lost, money because of the things that she said. The things that she said that nobody bothered to verify, he lost a lot of deals from there. So what does this tell you, right? Johnny Depp is a celebrity, but nothing protects you from domestic abuse. Not being a celebrity, not being famous, not having money, none of this. So if you think about it, think about the immigrant who is in hiding, who is afraid, who doesn't have money, who doesn't have a celebrity status, right? Think about it. They're in a worse situation because they have nowhere to go. And for a lot of men, they don't even want to admit, because of the machismo culture they're from, that they're suffering abuse. So that was the reason that VAWA was created, to protect men and women who are suffering in a toxic relationship, who are being abused physically or being subjected to emotional abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse, verbal abuse, the whole extreme cruelty, because it just shows that you're not being treated well in your relationship. So now a lot of men, right, are subjected to financial abuse. That's the one, I see that a lot. You have a spouse who is forcing you to go and work and taking the money from you, right? Or demanding extravagant gifts that the man cannot afford, and basically telling him that The reason you have a job is because I filed papers for you, or I'm going to file papers for you. So therefore, you're going to buy me this and you're going to buy me that. Some of the U.S. citizen green card holder women refuse to work. And because of the machismo culture a lot of immigrant men come from, they think it's their responsibility to work, pay all the bills, buy extravagant gifts that they cannot afford, right? So another abuse that men suffer from is sexual abuse, where women withhold, or even same-sex spouse. Remember that same-sex is also men in same-sex relationships also suffer abuse. And in that case, for a lot of them, their spouses are threatening to out them to their family members. Remember, a lot of immigrants are from countries where gay marriage is not recognized, right? So when the immigrant comes here and is in a relationship with, and I'm using men just because this topic is about men, with another man, right? A way to threaten their spouse is to threaten to let their family members know that they're gay, right? And that's a form of control. They're able to control them by threatening to tell people that they're gay. And that's a form of abuse. If you're suffering from this this type of abuse, you need to know that this is not normal and you deserve more than this, right? So now going into VAWA, what are the things that you need to show to be able to file a VAWA petition? Number one, you're married to a U.S. citizen or green card holder, and it's a bona fide marriage. I cannot stress that enough. So if you get into a sham marriage and you're being threatened and treated badly, you don't qualify for VAWA. VAWA requires it to be a real marriage. And all you have to show is at the time you got married, that you intended for it to be a real marriage. You intended to live with this person. You wanted to have a life with this person. Now, the marriage doesn't have to work out. If it doesn't work out, well, you're still able to file VAWA. If you divorce the person, you can still file VAWA as long as you file the VAWA within 2 years of the divorce. If your spouse has gone for an interview with you, you can still file VAWA. If you're in deportation proceedings, you can still file VAWA. So there are many ways that you can qualify for VAWA. The basics are you're married to a U.S. citizen or green card holder, it's a bona fide marriage, you suffered abuse or emotional cruelty, physical abuse or emotional cruelty, right? And that you are a person of good moral character, all right? There's also a requirement that you've lived with the person at some point, during the relationship. So let me make sure I covered everything I want to cover, because I have something at 12 o'clock and I have to go. So let's talk more let's look at other things that I might not have mentioned, types of psychological abuse. Like a lot of men complain about their U.S. citizen or green card holder wife refusing to allow them to send money to their families, send money to their other children, demanding that they not do anything, send any money to help their families or their children, refusing to allow them to speak to their family members, isolating them from their family members or friends that speak their language, threatening to withhold, if they have children, threatening to withhold the children from them, threatening to commit suicide if the man leaves. This is all a form of control. Hiding the important documents, accusing them of cheating every time they speak to a woman, or like a post on Facebook. There are many ways that a relationship can be abusive, and it's important for you to know, because if you know, you can free yourself from it. Okay, the purpose of VAWA is to make sure that you don't stay in a toxic relationship because you want to get a green card, right? So I continue to listen to the Johnny Depp testimony, or read it rather, and it's just really hard to, it's really hard against all forms of domestic violence, against women, domestic violence against men, against children, against parents. We stand against all forms of domestic violence. So if this is you or somebody you know, please share this video. because there is help. You do not have to stay in a toxic relationship. And the good thing about VAWA is it's confidential, people. Your spouse will not know. They will not know. So you can stay with them or you can leave them, right? And they won't get into trouble either, because VAWA is not about trying to, persecute the person who's abusing you. It's about trying to help you, the immigrant. And they realize that if they were to try to persecute the person who's abusing you, then most abuse victims will not come forward. So your abuser is not going to be prosecuted through VAWA, right? So you can apply for your VAWA, you can make your VAWA application without your spouse knowing, without your spouse getting in trouble, okay? So let me talk to a couple of people, and then I have to go because I have a consult at 12. So Stephen Miller says, good morning. Why do think people, when filing their I-130, they also send in their marital evidence? And I'm not understanding this question. Stephen Miller, you say good morning. Why do people, when filing their I-130, they also send in their marital evidence also, and not until their interview? I don't really know what the question is, but I'm going to take a guess at what you're trying to say. I think you're asking that when you file your I-130 petition, that can you send your proof of bona fides? Yes, I recommend you do that and not wait until the interview to send it. However, when you're newly married, of course, you may not have a lot of bona fide evidence of a real marriage. So you can send what you can. You can even send documents of when you were dating. And then as you begin to accumulate more proofs of bona fide, you can send to USCIS as you get more stuff. And of course, when you get to the interview, you can give them even more. Because as soon as you get to the interview, the marriage interview, the first thing they ask you, do you have anything else to add to what you submitted? That's a good time to give it to them. So guys, it was nice talking to all of you. I'm going to leave because I have something at 12 o'clock. But I hope today's topic reaches out to somebody who's in need, right? VAWA applies to everyone, men, women, children, parents. The important thing is, if you're a victim of abuse, and remember we said it doesn't have to be physical abuse, so therefore you don't need to show a police report or report from the hospital. It could be extreme cruelty, it could be emotional abuse, it could be psychological abuse, it could be financial abuse, it could be sexual abuse, it could be I think I said financial again before. Yes, it's all types of abuse, and you have your story. So reach out to a lawyer who specializes in VAWA and see if they can help you. My office does primarily VAWA cases. We can assist anybody in the United States. Okay, our number is 9